I'll wait for you here. Don't take too long.
So I got a pretty exciting opportunity recently. My school got an Oculus Rift, and while people were using it during the school year, it's now spring break, which means I got a chance to set it up on my school desktop and try Payday 2 on VR, and I'm happy to report that Payday 2 VR is actually really, really awesome. I played it on stealth, I played loud, I played online, I played offline, and everything runs really smooth. Way smoother than I thought it would. I'm going to be honest, I didn't have high hopes for Payday VR, but they absolutely blew my expectations out of the water, and it's the first VR game that I have been recommending to my friends, because I mean, it's not like I don't have a lot of experience with VR games, but usually when I look at potential VR titles, I think I don't really see why I'd buy that. Like, I mean, a lot of VR titles that are like, you know, very content strapped. There's not that much to them, and it's like you sit in a chair and command the Enterprise, and that's it. I'd be like, I don't know, man, I don't think that's enough for a full game. And of course, Payday has, you know, over 50 heists, hundreds of weapons. It's got so much content. Or VR titles seem too expensive. Be like, I don't know if I can justify paying $60 for a game that I can only play in VR. Even worse, if it's a multiplayer game, because that means there's going to be this tiny community, and the game's probably going to be dead in a year. Well, Payday, of course, doesn't have those problems. Overkill has very generously released the game for free to anybody who owns Payday, and the game integrates perfectly to the PC community, so there's always going to be thousands of people online, and you can play directly with them, and all of these reasons combine to make me think this is probably the best released VR game that is currently on the market. That doesn't even get into the actual gameplay, which, as you can see, works really smoothly. I really love how they solved a couple of the problems that I didn't think were going to be solvable, like the way that sniper scopes work, the way that they made akimbos work. I forgot to include footage of akimbo weapons, but you hold one in each hand, and so your left hand, which usually is fiddling with your menus, if you're not using a menu, it treats it like a second gun, which lets you fire in multiple directions at once, and is probably one of my favorite ways to play VR. There are two different ways to move around. This is the default teleport motion way. There's also free locomotion, which I didn't try because this footage is all from my first day playing Payday 2. I didn't want to try anything too crazy, just wanted to see how everything works, and I will get a little more explorative. As I make future videos on Payday 2 VR, I have a couple of complaints with gameplay, but they're all pretty minor. The first one is that when you go too close to the playable area, your screen goes black. I think that's the player character or your head moving out of the playable space, and it's kind of disconcerting when that happens, especially if you get down to that location and can't move out of it. And then finally, the Birth of Sky skydiving event is really, really disappointing. You'll see it in this video, and it's just like I really hope they fix that. And to be honest, I think they might have fixed that. There's a new update today for VR on March 29th, and they mentioned the parachute and the skydiving event. I haven't been able to get back to the school to see if they've actually fixed it, but it sounds like they might have actually already solved that problem. And speaking of no problems, the driving, which I think you're seeing right now in the video, is actually pretty easy to do. The footage looks a little bit like I'm having trouble, but that's because I showed my first ever time in a vehicle, and I wanted to show that because of how quickly I managed to get the hang of it. And I didn't think they were going to be able to pull that off, but they really did, and the vehicles in Payday actually just work really well. Most of my requests for things I hope they fix going forward, or not fix, but things I hope that they include going forward are pretty standard. I hope they fix bows, or make bows usable, because bows are my favorite weapon. I'm glad they've made it so that you can use the saw, but I hope they don't remove the ability to shoot lockboxes, or at minimum they add that as a skill. Honestly, let's add that as a skill to the base game. I think everybody hates deposit boxes. Maybe it could go in that one technician tree where you can upgrade saws. The voice chat was a little bit difficult to use. I couldn't find a way in the settings to set up push-to-talk, which is my preferred form of voice chat, so I had to make it that I just talked, not push-to-talk, just open mic. And I really don't like when people have open mic on, including myself, so I hope that some sort of push-to-chat feature becomes available. And finally, I couldn't find a way to make the technician's jack-of-all-trades skill work. There just didn't seem to be any way to select my second equipment, so I hope that they managed to get that fixed. But in general, amazingly well done game, amazingly well done port. Very pleased with what Overkill has managed to come out with yet, and I'm very excited for what they come out with in the future. I hope you're all having a great day. This is Abacus with the Spuff of Legend. Keep those helmets flying.